Guys, Mike here, MBell556, and as promised, we're going to give a follow-up examination of the Hydra roller cam pin regarding its durability. I received two of these cam pins almost exactly 12 months ago. And in the last 12 months, one of these cam pins has just sat in the shop, but the other one has been used in just about every AR-15 platform that I've tested over the last 12 months. And we finally gotten to the 5,000 round mark, and we want to take a very up-close look at this cam pin. This cam pin has been used very harshly. Most of the fire has been either rapid fire or full auto fire. It's been used in a wide variety of upper receivers with barrel lengths down to 7.75 inches and up to 20 inches. In the DI gas systems, it's seen pistol, carbine, mid-length, and rifle systems. I've also used this cam pin in piston guns, both factory piston guns and in retrofit kit piston guns. I've used the cam pin with multiple calibers, so it's seen a pretty harsh life in these 5,000 rounds over this last 12 months. But the service life that's reported for these cam pins on the website at Hydra is 100,000 rounds. This is my test cam pin, and this is my rest cam pin, so that's our baseline. One other interesting observation that I noted is the orientation of the cap. You have the long axis that's in line with the firing pin hole on this first cam pin that I installed and used in my test. Now, the one that I didn't use as I was getting ready to do this video and looking at these, I noticed something very odd. If you look at the axis of the cam pin hole and the head, this is at a 90-degree angle compared to the axis here. So as this cam pin sits in the bolt carrier, instead of having the long axis perpendicular to the bolt carrier, the cam pin that I used in my testing is actually along the long axis. Whereas this other cam pin from Hydra has the head oriented 90 degrees differently. So that's a mystery to me. After every range session, I took the cam pin out as I cleaned the firearm, and I cleaned and lubed the cam pin and then put it into the next test platform that I was planning to look at. And notice that there's a little up and down motion like that on this collar, and that appears to be the same between the unused and the used one. But one thing is there's a little wiggle. I don't know if you can appreciate this. As I go up and down, there's a little wiggle on the bottom of this collar. And if we look at the unused cam pin and I hold it in the same position, it's very snug. I'm putting pressure up and down, and you can see that the cam pin isn't moving significantly at all. So there has become some increased motion of this cam pin in a lateral aspect. So you do have some lateral motion between the body of the cam pin and this rotating collar that isn't present on an unused Hydra fire. You can see that it has considerable finish wear, but I didn't really notice any large gouging or obvious excessive wear. That is until I put it under my 20-powered stereoscopic dissecting microscope.
Now, I'm not a metallurgist, so I'm not sure what the proper term for what I was seeing is, but certainly in medicine we would call these either stress fractures or hairline fractures. And with my normal camera lens, you really have to work at getting the light just right before you can even see these small cracks that were very evident when I put them under a 20-powered stereoscopic dissecting microscope. But if you rotate around, what I saw was on the bottom of this roller. And once you get the light just right, if you're looking at this video on a small device, a phone or a small iPad, you may have to get to a larger screen to even appreciate it. But there are these little hairline fractures in the metal, and as you go around and inspect the roller, they were present pretty much circumferentially around this roller. So I felt like I needed to try to do something to get a better image for the video. I went out and bought a small adapter for my camera lens so I could get the camera focused up closer. And this is the result. You still have to get the light just right, but you can see these fractures a little bit easier now with this up close view. And once again, they're small hairline fractures in the metal all the way around. Just have to get the light focused just right before you can pick them up. But they go all the way around the bottom of the roller. And, one question is, are these just little surface defects? But under the microscope, it's pretty obvious. And I tried to show this full depth of the crack on the bottom. It's really hard to pick up with the camera equipment that I have. But if you look closely in some of these views, you'll be able to tell that the crack actually goes through the full thickness on the bottom rim of the roller.
What can I say in the final analysis of this Hydrofire cam pin? How often should you change your cam pin in an AR-15? I've heard guys say they change their cam pin every 1,000 rounds. Well, I think that's a little bit excessive. A lot of guys feel like you should change your cam pin routinely in 3,000 to 5,000 rounds. And we've gotten this cam pin up to 5,000 rounds. But I think even though it's fairly vague, the correct answer to that question is you change your cam pin when there's excessive wear or you find cracks in the cam pin, then it's time to replace the cam pin. The Hydrofire has a published service life of 100,000 rounds. We're only at 1/20th of that level, and already we're seeing cracks. So clearly it's time to change this cam pin. Does it decrease friction? Well, obviously, looking at the design, you would expect that this will decrease the friction. So is this worth $30? 6 times as much as the average cam pin. If you shoot competition and you're trying to tune your gun to get the very minimal amount of gas that it's required so that you can minimize your recoil, and spending $30 on a cam pin doesn't seem like a lot when you're talking about a gun that might cost $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, then it might be for you. If you're a guy that just likes to do every little thing he can to his AR-15 to make it run efficiently and smoothly, and you don't really put very many rounds through your gun, then you might consider this. But I think for the average guy, it really doesn't make sense to spend 6 times as much for a cam pin unless it really did have a 100,000 round service life. Certainly for the one that I have that I've tested over these last 12 months, it's time to change this cam pin out at 5,000 rounds. I hope you found the information interesting and useful. Please post any comments and I'll try to respond to those in a timely fashion. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.